Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to share and subscribe the channel. Noah Jenkins had always been drawn to solitude. As a wilderness paramedic based in Montana, he spent his days rescuing others from the unforgiving mountains, but his rare days off were sacred time alone with nature, away from the chaos of emergency calls and the weight of holding lives in his hands. The morning air was crisp as Noah hiked along the ridge of Pine Mountain, his favorite trail that few tourists ever discovered. His backpack contained his standard wilderness medical kit, force of habit from years of training. Though off-duty, Noah could never quite leave the paramedic behind. "Just me and the mountain today," he whispered to himself, pausing to admire the valley below, 50 miles from the nearest town. This was true isolation, his personal sanctuary. The unusual light caught his attention first, a pulsing glow emanating from behind a cluster of boulders, 100 yards ahead. Noah narrowed his eyes, wondering if some hikers had set up camp with unusual equipment. But something didn't feel right. The light had an otherworldly quality, shifting between vibrant purple and soft blue. "Hello," Noah called out, approaching cautiously. "Anyone need help?" No response came, but the light flickered more intensely. Noah's paramedic instincts kicked in, urging him forward. Rounding the boulders, he stopped dead in his tracks. A small craft, no larger than an SUV, lay embedded in the earth. Its surface resembled polished obsidian but seemed to flow like liquid when the light pulsed across it. Noah stood frozen, his mind struggling to process what he was seeing. "This isn't possible," he muttered, pulling out his phone. "No signal, not surprising at this elevation." A soft moan emanated from beside the craft, and Noah's attention snapped to a figure lying half-concealed by tall grass. Instinct overrode shock, and he rushed forward, dropping to his knees beside what he initially thought was an injured hiker. But this was no hiker. The woman, if he could call her that, had skin that shimmered with a pale blue luminescence. Her features were almost human but more refined, with high cheekbones and almond-shaped eyes. Most striking was her hair, which floated slightly as if underwater, glowing with bioluminescent strands that shifted between teal and silver. "Oh my God," Noah whispered, his medical training momentarily forgotten as he stared at the unmistakably alien being. The creature's eyes fluttered open, revealing irises like swirling galaxies, deep purple with specks of light that seemed to move. She gasped in pain, her hand clutching her side where a wound leaked a glowing blue substance. Noah snapped back to his training. Alien or not, this was a patient in distress. "I'm here to help," he said clearly, using the calm voice he reserved for injured hikers. "I'm a paramedic, a healer." The alien woman's eyes widened with recognition at the word healer. She spoke, her voice melodic but filled with pain, in a language Noah couldn't understand. "I need to examine your wound," Noah said, mimicking the action of checking her injury. The alien nodded weakly, removing her hand from her side. Noah assessed the damage, a deep laceration about 6 inches long, leaking the luminous blue substance he assumed was blood. The wound's edges pulsed with an internal light that was fatting. Noah opened his medical kit. Standard human treatments might not work, but the basics of wound care should be universal. Clean, close, protect. He cleaned the area with sterile saline solution, noticing how the alien winced but remained still. As he worked, Noah spoke softly, explaining each step as he would with any patient. "I'm going to close this wound now. It might hurt, but it will help you heal." To his surprise, a small smile appeared on the alien's face, and she spoke a single word that sounded like Talia. "Talia, is that your name?" Noah asked, pressing a clean bandage against the wound. She nodded, then pointed at him with a questioning look. "Noah," he replied, tapping his chest. "My name is Noah." "Noah," Talia repeated, her melodic voice transforming the simple name into something almost musical. As Noah secured the bandage, something extraordinary happened. Where his fingers touched Talia's skin, a soft glow spread, and the pain in her expression eased. The wound beneath the bandage pulsed brighter, and Noah felt a warm sensation traveling up his arms, like gentle electricity. "What's happening?" he asked, more to himself than to Talia. Talia's eyes widened in what appeared to be surprise, then understanding. She placed her hand over Noah's and spoke rapidly in her language, her expression growing increasingly animated. Noah shook his head. "I don't understand." Frustrated, Talia pointed to the sky, then to her craft, making flying motions with her hand. Noah nodded. She was trying to explain where she came from. Then she pointed to her wound to Noah and made a binding gesture with her hands, intertwining her fingers together. A chill ran down Noah's spine. Whatever she was trying to communicate seemed important, possibly vital. Noah helped Talia sit up, noticing her strength returning rapidly. The glow beneath the bandage had intensified, and her skin seemed healthier, the luminescence brighter. "We need to get you somewhere safe," Noah said, glancing at the crashed craft. "Can you walk?" Talia nodded, rising carefully with Noah's support. She looked back at her craft with concern, then reached inside to retrieve a small device that resembled a crystal compass. She clutched it tightly, then gestured for them to leave. As they made their way down the mountain, Talia growing stronger with each step, Noah couldn't shake the feeling that his life had irrevocably changed. The alien woman beside him seemed less frightened now, occasionally glancing at him with what he could only interpret as wonder or reverence. What Noah couldn't know yet was that back on Talia's home world, the news of her survival was already spreading. A human healer had saved a Lamary female, and according to the ancient laws of her people, that simple act of compassion had forged a bond that transcended species. By nightfall, Talia's people would be preparing for a journey to Earth. By sunrise, the hostile Vraxians who had forced Talia's craft down would be plotting their next move. And Noah Jenkins, wilderness paramedic, would find himself caught in the middle of an interstellar conflict. All because he had done what came naturally to him. He had healed someone in need. The journey back to Noah's cabin took twice as long as normal. Talia moved with increasing strength but stopped frequently to scan the sky, her expression tense. Noah's modest cabin, nestled among towering pines, finally came into view as dusk approached. "Home," Noah explained, pointing to the wooden structure. "Safe." Talia studied the simple building with obvious curiosity, but kept glancing nervously toward the horizon. Once inside, Noah watched as she methodically examined everything. The stone fireplace, his bookshelf filled with medical texts, the simple kitchen, and the communications equipment he used during rescue operations. "I should call someone," Noah muttered to himself, reaching for his satellite phone. Then he paused, hand hovering over the device. Who exactly would he call about an injured alien? The military? Scientists? Either option filled him with unease. Talia approached, gently placing her hand over his. She shook her head firmly. "No others," she said in clear, accented English. Noah jumped back in surprise. You can speak my language." Talia touched her temple, where a faint glow pulsed beneath her skin. "Learning fast, your healing accelerated process." "That's impossible," Noah whispered. "No one learns a language in hours." "Lamary different," she explained, tapping her head again. "Connect, absorb." Noah sat heavily on his worn leather armchair, trying to process this development. "Lamary, is that what you're called, your species?" Talia nodded, kneeling before him with an intensity that made Noah uncomfortable. "Lamary, yes, and you, Noah, are Vesh-Talon now." "I'm what?" "Vesh-Talon," she repeated as if the term should mean something to him. When Noah's expression remained blank, Talia sighed and tried again. "You healed me, your energy," she gestured to his hands, mixed with mine, "created bond sacred to Lamary." A sense of foreboding crept up Noah's spine. "What kind of bond?" Talia's luminescent features softened into what appeared to be embarrassment. "In your language, closest word is husband." Noah stood abruptly, knocking over his coffee mug. "Husband, that's not possible. I just provided medical care, that's my job." "Not just job," Talia explained, seemingly unperturbed by his reaction. "Your energy has wavelength compatible with Lamary physiology, rare, sacred. When you healed me, energy patterns merged." She touched her side where the wound was rapidly healing. "This creates Vehelan bond recognized by all Lamary." Noah paced the small cabin, running his hands through his hair. "So what? I accidentally married you by providing first aid." Talia tilted her head, considering. "Not exactly marriage, more, deeper, you are protector of Lamary, now guardian family." She hesitated, searching for words. "All Lamary will know you, respect you." "This is insane," Noah muttered. "Completely insane." Before Talia could respond, her crystal compass-like device began pulsing with an urgent red light. Her expression transformed instantly from apologetic to alert. She moved to the window, peering out into the darkening forest. "They found us," she whispered, her voice tight with fear. "Who found us?" Noah asked, joining her at the window. Vraxians, Talia said, the word laden with dread. Hunters. They shot down my scout vessel. Noah saw nothing but shadows among the trees, but Talia's fear was palpable. Why would they hunt you? Resource war, she explained quickly, moving away from the window. Vraxians take what isn't theirs. Lamoury defend. She paused, looking at Noah with genuine concern. Now they will hunt you too. Vestalan is powerful symbol to Lamoury. Vraxians will want to capture or kill. Noah felt his heart racing. Just hours ago, his biggest concern had been having enough firewood for the weekend. Now he was being told he was a target in an interstellar conflict. We need to move, Talia said urgently, gathering what appeared to be components from various devices around the cabin. Noah's flashlight, his satellite phone, even the small solar charger he used for emergencies. What are you doing with my things? Making defense, she replied, her fingers working with remarkable dexterity. Communication blocker, Vraxians track technology signals. A sharp metallic scent filled the air outside, like ozone after lightning but stronger. Talia froze, her galaxy eyes widening. Transport beam, she whispered. Too late. Noah's training kicked in. If they were in danger, standing frozen wouldn't help. Back door, he said firmly, grabbing his medical pack and emergency survival kit. Now. They slipped out the rear of the cabin just as an eerie humming sound emanated from the clearing in front. Through the trees, Noah glimpsed what could only be described as another spacecraft, larger than Talia's, with an aggressive angular design that reminded him of a predatory insect. Forest, Talia whispered, pointing to the dense pines behind the cabin. Minerals and rocks disrupt scanners. They moved quietly through the underbrush, Noah leading the way through familiar terrain. His years as a wilderness paramedic had given him intimate knowledge of these woods, knowledge that might now save their lives. After 20 minutes of careful travel, they reached a small cave entrance, partially hidden by a waterfall, one of Noah's emergency shelters for lost hikers. In here, he said, guiding Talia through the curtain of water into the dry cave beyond. Inside, Noah activated his emergency lantern, casting the cave in soft light. Talia crouched near the entrance, listening intently for pursuers. You should be safe here, Noah said, spreading out an emergency blanket. At least for now. Talia turned to him, her bioluminescent hair dimming to match the darkness. Not just me, she corrected. Us, your life changed when you healed me, Noah. So you keep saying, Noah replied, the reality of their situation sinking in. But I still don't understand what this Vehel thing really means. Talia sat beside him, her movements graceful despite her recent injury. Long ago, when Lamoury first explored stars, a terrible plague struck our people. We found no cure. We're dying. A stranger from another world helped us. Healed first Lamoury using compatible energy pattern. That stranger became first Vesh Talon, the bridge between worlds. She placed her hand over her healing wound. By ancient law, any non-Lamoury who saves Lamoury life with direct energy transfer becomes Vehel. And what does that mean for me exactly? Noah asked. You are protected by all Lamoury, Talia explained. Given highest honor, your words carry weight with Lamoury Council. She hesitated. But Vraxians know our traditions. They hunt Vesh Talon to break Lamoury's spirit. Noah absorbed this information, trying to make sense of his new reality. So these Vraxians, they're here because of you. Because of us, Talia nodded solemnly. My mission was observation only, no contact with humans planned, but Vraxians attacked my vessel, forced landing. Now they know I survived. Noah, a human, helped me. Her galaxy eyes met his. Now you are Vesh Talon. A distant high-pitched whine echoed through the forest, unnatural and mechanical. Search drones, Talia whispered, her skin pulsing with nervous light. Looking for energy signatures. Noah extinguished the lantern, plunging them into darkness broken only by the soft glow of Talia's luminescent features. Can they track you? Noah asked. Your bioluminescence. No, Talia replied. My light different frequency than their scanners detect, but your technology, she gestured to Noah's equipment, they can find. Noah quickly powered down every electronic device, grateful that his satellite phone was wrapped in Talia's makeshift signal blocker. As they sat in near darkness, the sound of the search drones growing fainter, Noah confronted the reality of his situation. In one day, his understanding of the universe had been completely upended. Not only was Earth not alone in the cosmos, but he had somehow become spiritually married to an alien woman and was now being hunted by hostile extraterrestrials. "My people will come," Talia said softly, breaking the silence. "When I did not report back, distress beacon activated. They will find us." "And then what?" Noah asked. Talia's expression turned somber in the dim light. "Then we prepare. Vraxians never give up hunt for Vestalin. You healed one Lamary. Now all Lamary will stand with you." She placed her hand gently on his. "I am sorry, Noah. Your simple kindness has bound you to a conflict you did not choose." Noah looked at their hands, hers glowing softly against his human skin. He had spent his life helping others in danger, running toward emergencies when others fled. Now it seemed the biggest emergency of his life was just beginning. "We'll figure this out," he said with more confidence than he felt. "Together." As the night deepened around them, Noah couldn't help but wonder how many other Vraxian ships might be entering Earth's atmosphere. All because he had done what came naturally to him. He had helped someone in need. Dawn broke with an unnatural silence over the forest. No birds sang, no insects buzzed, as if the woodland creatures sensed the alien presence that had descended overnight. Noah awoke with a start, momentarily disoriented by the cave's dim interior before the events of the previous day came rushing back. Talia was already awake, crouched at the cave entrance, her galaxy eyes scanning the forest beyond the waterfall. The wound on her side had healed remarkably, leaving only a faint luminescent scar. "Status?" Noah asked, falling back on the clipped communication style he used during rescue operations. "Vraxian drones passed twice," Talia replied without turning. "Search pattern expanding, they will return." She manipulated her crystal compass-like device, which projected a holographic display that Noah couldn't begin to decipher. "My people approaching," she added, a note of relief in her melodic voice. 6 hours until arrival." Noah joined her at the entrance, peering through the curtain of water. The forest looked peaceful enough, but the hairs on his neck stood on end. "We can't stay here for 6 hours. Too confined, no escape route." Talia nodded in agreement. "We move, find better position." They packed quickly, Noah retrieving his emergency supplies while Talia fashioned more signal-blocking wrappings for their electronic devices. Before leaving, Noah filled his water bottles from the pristine waterfall, then paused, watching Talia touch the water with fascination. "Your world has so much of this," she remarked, letting the water run through her luminescent fingers. "Yours doesn't." "Not in natural state," she explained. "All processed, regulated. I have never seen water flow freely like this." The simple observation reminded Noah just how alien this situation truly was. This woman, this being, came from a civilization advanced enough for interstellar travel. Yet she marveled at a simple waterfall. They set out, moving carefully through the underbrush. Noah led them higher into the mountains, where the terrain became rockier and more difficult to traverse, but also offered better visibility and more hiding places. "Why were you on Earth?" Noah asked as they hiked, keeping his voice low. "Just observation, you said." Talia nodded, her movements graceful despite the rough terrain. "Survey mission. Assess human development. Lamary explore many worlds, peaceful contact when species ready." "And you decided we weren't ready?" "Not yet," Talia confirmed. "Your people still fight amongst yourselves. Technologies advance faster than wisdom." But she paused, looking at Noah. "Individuals like you give hope." Around midday, they reached a rocky outcropping that offered a panoramic view of the valley below. Noah scanned the area with his binoculars, focusing on his cabin in the distance. What he saw made his blood run cold. "There at my cabin," he whispered, handing the binoculars to Talia. Through the powerful lenses, the Vraxian presence was unmistakable. 3 figures in segmented armor moved methodically around the property. Their helmets resembled elongated insect heads with multiple sensor arrays. Even from this distance, their movement seemed unnervingly precise. "Trackers," Talia confirmed grimly. "Elite hunters." Noah watched as one Vraxian held up something that looked disturbingly like his own shirt. "They're tracking my scent like bloodhounds." "Chemical signatures," Talia corrected. "They follow molecular trail more precise than your Earth predators." Noah's training kicked in, his mind rapidly assessing their options. Water disrupts scent trails. We need to cross the river, move along the waterway. They descended toward the rushing river that cut through the valley, moving as quickly as safety allowed. The water was swift and cold, snow melt from higher elevations, but Noah knew a crossing point where natural stepping stones made passage possible. As they neared the river, Talia suddenly froze, her head tilting as if listening to a frequency beyond human perception. "Someone comes," she whispered, "not Vraxian." Noah reached for the hunting knife at his belt, the only weapon he carried, but Talia placed a restraining hand on his arm. "Lamoury," she clarified, her expression brightening. "One of us." They took cover behind a large boulder, watching the forest path. Minutes later, a figure emerged from the trees, unmistakably of Talia's species but different. This newcomer was taller, her skin a deeper blue with intricate patterns that pulsed with light. Her hair, unlike Talia's flowing tresses, was styled in complex braids that seemed to float around her head like a crown. "Nara," Talia breathed, stepping out from their hiding place. The newcomer, Nara, rushed forward, embracing Talia with obvious relief. They spoke rapidly in their melodic language, their skin patterns synchronizing as they communicated. Then Nara turned to Noah, her gaze intense and evaluating. "So this is the human Vehel," she said in perfect English, her voice deeper and more resonant than Talia's. "I am Nara, research commander of the Lamoury expedition and Talia's sister bond." Noah nodded cautiously. "Noah Jenkins, wilderness paramedic." "He saved me, Nara," Talia interjected. "True energy bond formed." Nara approached Noah slowly, raising her hand in what appeared to be a formal gesture. "May I confirm the bond? It requires brief contact." Noah hesitated, then nodded. Nara placed her palm against his forehead. A warm sensation spread through Noah's mind, not intrusive but present, like sunshine filtering through closed eyelids. "It is true," Nara announced, stepping back with what appeared to be awe. "The energy signature is unmistakable. You are indeed Vesh Talon." She performed a formal bow. "All Lamoury honor you, Noah Jenkins." "Great," Noah replied, fighting a surge of exasperation. "Now can someone please explain what that actually means for me? Because so far it's mostly meant being hunted by alien bug people." Nara exchanged a look with Talia. "The Vraxians are not bug people, though I understand the comparison. They are silicon-based life forms, highly organized and relentlessly expansionist. And they want me because—" "To the Lamoury, Vestalin represents hope and connection," Nara explained. "The original Vesh Talon saved our species from extinction. When a new one emerges, which happens perhaps once in several generations, it symbolizes renewed strength for our people." Her expression darkened. "To the Vraxians, you represent a strategic target. Break the Vehel, break Lamoury morale." Noah processed this information. "So I'm basically a propaganda piece." "You are much more," Talia insisted. "The bond is real, Noah. Your energy signature now resonates with all Lamoury. We can sense you. Draw strength from your presence." "Our main vessel will arrive soon," Nara added. "We must reach the landing coordinates safely. The Vraxians will intensify their search when they detect our approach." A distant mechanical whir caught their attention. Noah looked up to see multiple Vraxian drones cresting the ridge they had just descended. "They're following our trail faster than expected," Noah observed. "We need to move now." They sprinted for the river, no longer concerned with stealth. Noah led them to the crossing point, carefully navigating the slippery stones while helping Talia and Nara across. The cold water rushed around their ankles, washing away any chemical trail. Once across, they continued along the riverbank for nearly a mile before cutting back into the forest, heading for higher ground. Nara consulted a device similar to Talia's compass but more elaborate. "Our extraction point is 3 miles north," she announced. "High clearing where the main vessel can land safely." 3 miles through Vraxian-infested forest," Noah muttered. "Perfect." As they hiked, Nara filled Noah in on more details about his new role. "The Vesh-Talon bond affects your physiology subtly," she explained. "You may notice enhanced healing, greater stamina, sharper senses, particularly attunement to energy fields." Noah thought about how clearly he'd been sensing danger all day, how his fatigue seemed less than expected after hours of difficult hiking. "And this is permanent." "Until death," Nara confirmed. "To the Lamoury Council, you are now family eternal. Your voice carries authority. Your safety is paramount." The Council is coming here, to Earth. Nara nodded. A delegation, yes. First contact was not planned for decades, but circumstances have changed. Your emergence as Vestalin accelerates the timeline. The implications staggered Noah. He had inadvertently triggered first contact between Earth and an advanced alien civilization. Your council knows I'm just a paramedic, right? Not a world leader or diplomat. Your profession is precisely why the bond formed, Talia interjected. Healers possess the energy pattern most compatible with Lamoury physiology. The fact that you chose to help without hesitation, despite my obvious differences, that reflects the essence of Vesh Talon. Their conversation was cut short by a piercing sound like metal being torn apart directly ahead. Through the trees, Noah glimpsed movement, the segmented armor of Vraxian hunters. Ambush, he whispered, pulling Talia and Nara into the cover of a dense thicket. They watched as 3 Vraxians converged on the path ahead, their movements precise and predatory. The aliens bore weapons that resembled elongated rifles, but with organic components that pulsed with energy. Chemical scanners disrupted by river, Nara observed quietly. They're guessing our route to the extraction point. Noah assessed their options. Going back meant more time exposed, potentially missing their extraction window. Going forward meant confronting the Vraxians directly. Neither choice seemed promising. Is there anything on this planet the Vraxians can't tolerate? Noah asked suddenly. Environmental weaknesses, allergies. Nara considered this. Their sensory systems are highly calibrated. Overwhelming stimuli can disorient them temporarily. Noah's mind raced, thinking of his emergency kit. Flashbangs, he murmured. Not exactly the same, but... He reached into his pack, retrieving an emergency flare gun and several signal flares. If we create enough light and sound simultaneously, could that give us an opening? Talia's eyes widened. Possibly. Vraxian ocular systems can't adjust to sudden light changes as quickly as ours. I need 2 minutes to modify these, Noah said, already working on the flares with his multi-tool. Then we make our move. As Noah worked, Nara watched him with growing respect. You adapt quickly for a species that hasn't achieved interstellar travel. Humans are good at improvising, Noah replied, focusing on his task, especially in emergencies. The plan was simple but risky. Noah would fire the modified flares in sequence, creating a diversion of light and sound while they sprinted past the Vraxian position through the densest part of the forest. Ready, Noah whispered, flare gun positioned. Talia and Nara nodded, their skin pulsing with nervous energy. Noah took a deep breath, aimed high, and pulled the trigger. The modified flare shot upward, exploding with blinding intensity and a concussive force that shook the trees. Immediately, the Vraxians reacted, their movements becoming erratic as their sensors overloaded. Now, Noah commanded, already running forward. Together, they sprinted through the forest, Noah firing 2 more flares in different directions to maintain the disorientation. The Vraxians fired wildly, energy beams slicing through trees and undergrowth, but their accuracy was compromised. They ran until their lungs burned, putting as much distance as possible between themselves and the hunting party. When they finally stopped to catch their breath, Nara consulted her device again. 1 mile to extraction, she reported. Lamoury vessel entering atmosphere now. As if on cue, the sky above them rumbled with the sound of something massive displacing air. Noah looked up through the canopy and caught glimpses of a large, shimmering object descending toward the clearing ahead. The council awaits Vesh Talon, Nara said formally. Are you ready to meet your new family? Noah looked from Nara to Talia, then toward the clearing where his life was about to change forever. No, he admitted honestly, but let's go anyway. Together they moved toward the clearing, toward first contact, toward a future Noah could never have imagined when he set out for a simple hike just 1 day before. The clearing appeared before them like an emerald stage set for a cosmic drama. Sunlight bathed the open space in golden light, creating an almost ethereal atmosphere. As they approached cautiously, Noah's senses were on high alert, scanning for any sign of Vraxian pursuers. We must hurry, Nara urged, her normally melodic voice tense. Our sensors detect multiple Vraxian vessels converging on this location. As they stepped into the clearing, the air above them shimmered and distorted. Noah looked up in awe as a massive ship materialized through what appeared to be some kind of cloaking technology. Unlike Talia's small craft or the predatory angles of the Vraxian vessels, this ship was elegant, curved and flowing like liquid metal frozen in motion, with patterns of light pulsing across its surface in harmonious waves. "The Harmony," Talia whispered reverently, "flagship of the Lamary Council." A beam of soft blue light descended from the vessel, touching the ground at the center of the clearing. Within seconds, forms began to materialize. 5 Lamary, each more regal and imposing than Nera. Their skin displayed complex interwoven patterns of light that seemed to communicate status and emotion simultaneously. 4 of them wore flowing garments that shimmered with embedded technology, while the 5th, clearly the leader, was adorned with what looked like crystalline armor that amplified her natural luminescence. "Counselor Vendra," Nera said, bowing deeply, "we are honored by your presence." The leader stepped forward, her galaxy eyes fixed not on Talia or Nera, but directly on Noah. She approached with measured steps, her presence radiating authority and ancient wisdom. "Noah Jenkins," she said, her voice carrying harmonic undertones that seemed to resonate in his chest. "I am Vendra, High Counselor of the Lamary Collective. We have traveled far to meet the first Vesh Talon in 7 generations." Noah stood straighter, unsure of the proper protocol. "I was just doing my job, Counselor. I saw someone injured and helped." Vendra's expression softened. "The purest bonds are formed from the simplest truths," she replied. "It is not the complexity of action, but the clarity of intention that creates Vesh Talon." Before Noah could respond, the tree line erupted with energy blasts as 3 Vraxian hunters burst into the clearing, weapons raised. The Lamary Council members moved with surprising speed, generating shields of energy that deflected the attacks. "Protect the Vesh Talon," Vendra commanded. 2 council members moved to flank Noah while the others engaged the Vraxians. The battle that ensued was unlike anything Noah had ever witnessed. Energy manipulated as weapons, shields formed from light, movements so fast they blurred before his eyes. "This is getting out of hand," Noah muttered, frustrated at being treated like a passive asset. He was a first responder trained to act in crisis, not to be protected like some sacred relic. A Vraxian broke through the defensive line, charging directly at Noah with predatory focus. Without thinking, Noah dropped into a defensive stance, drawing on wilderness survival training from years in the mountains. As the alien raised its weapon, Noah launched himself forward in a tackle that caught the Vraxian off guard, sending them both rolling across the ground. The creature was stronger than Noah anticipated, its exoskeletal armor unyielding against his hands. They grappled briefly before the Vraxian pinned Noah, raising a blade-like appendage to strike. In that moment, Noah felt a surge of energy unlike anything he'd experienced, a reservoir of power flowing from somewhere deep within him. Acting on pure instinct, Noah pressed his palm against the Vraxian's chest plate and released the energy. A pulse of blue-white light erupted from his hand, sending the Vraxian flying backward to crash against a tree trunk. Noah stared at his hand in shock. "What just happened?" Talia was suddenly beside him, helping him to his feet. "The Veshtalan energy," she explained quickly. "You accessed it instinctively." The remaining Vraxians retreated into the forest, outmatched by the combined Lamary forces. Above them, the Harmony's defensive systems activated, creating a dome of shimmering energy over the clearing. Vendra approached Noah, studying him with newfound respect. "You channeled Lamary energy without training. Remarkable." "I don't understand what happened," Noah admitted, still staring at his hand. "The bond gives you access to our collective energy," Vendra explained. "Most Vesh Talon require years to learn such manipulation. Your natural healing abilities must have accelerated the process." A high-pitched alarm sounded from one of the council members' devices. "Counselor," the Lamary called out urgently. "Vraxian battle cruiser entering orbit, assault force deploying." Vendra's expression hardened. "They will not risk an all-out attack on Earth. Too many witnesses, too much evidence of extraterrestrial presence." She turned to Noah. "But they will pursue you relentlessly now that they've confirmed the Vesh Talon bond." "So what's the plan?" Noah asked, falling back on his crisis response training. "Evacuation, you must come with us," Vendra stated. "For your safety and Earth's, the Vraxians will not stop until they have captured or eliminated you." Noah felt a weight settle in his chest. Leave Earth? His home, his life, his career, everything he knew, abandoned because he'd helped an injured alien. The unfairness of it struck him hard. "And if I refuse?" he asked quietly. Vendra's galaxy eyes softened with understanding. "Then we respect your choice, but cannot guarantee protection indefinitely. The Vraxians are persistent." Talia stepped forward, taking Noah's hand gently. "There is another option," she said, looking to Vendra for permission. The counselor nodded and Talia continued. "You could become our ambassador to Earth, a bridge between worlds, the true meaning of Vestalan." "Ambassador," Noah echoed. "First contact was inevitable," Vendra elaborated. "Your emergence as Vestalan merely accelerated the timeline. Earth must be prepared for the wider galactic community, both its wonders and its dangers." She gestured to the forest where the Vraxians had disappeared. "The Vraxians are but one of many species with interest in your world." Noah looked from Vendra to Talia, then to the magnificent ship hovering above them. "I'm a paramedic, not a diplomat," he said finally. "I don't know the first thing about interstellar politics." "Yet you understand compassion," Vendra countered. "You act instinctively to protect life. These qualities matter more than diplomatic training."